So this is Travel Chat. It's a Monday morning. So it is Magic Money Monday. It's raining here, so I am going to be watching the road. But it's Magic Money Monday here on Travel Chat, which is the show where I use my commute to talk through personal development, and I take you along for the ride. So this is going to be a short one, and I was actually thinking about canceling the week, actually. And the funny thing is, I started doing this, I started turning the camera on because I was talking this out anyway. I'd be listening to an audiobook, and I'm just like really thinking about things and talking through things to help myself. And I turned the camera on because I was like, I don't have time to write a blog, so I'm just going to record it, and until I'm able to sit down and just write it, this will be the way that I blog. And it turned out to be extremely therapeutic. Like, it went from being like a rant, which is what I would call like the negative version of this video blog, where I'm just kind of like, I'm talking through things that are upsetting to me and just kind of getting that all out of my system. That was actually before I was recording. And then now it's turned into just kind of solving problems and talking through things. Hey Mona, good morning. And people are listening, people are watching, and I'm getting messages that it's helpful, so I want to keep doing it. But the last couple weeks, and this is all my own making, because the last couple weeks I was asking to go deeper. I was asking myself, like, you need to go deeper because there's something else. You've scratched the surface, you need to go deeper, And so I went deeper, I went all in, and now I'm like I want to just listen to jazz music or something on the way to work, or listen to like Moana soundtrack or something, just totally mindless. Like, I don't want to think anymore because I bit off more than I could chew. Like, I bit off so much that I have enough to really like mull over for the next week. So I was going to cancel and just like take a week off and just kind of like take a vacation from thinking about everything. But I realized that probably wouldn't help me, because talking things out actually helps me more than anything. So in the morning, if I wake up like I did today and I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, I can't, I've had enough, like it's too much. Usually by the time I get to work, I feel like so relaxed and free. Like I needed that. I needed to get things off my chest. So I pressed live. Like I just pressed it, and gotten all types of messages from my surroundings of like, just do it. I had an email this morning that was like, it's like a business advice email, and it was like, tell people that make people feel good about their lives. That's what the advice was. Make people feel good about their lives. And I was like, wow, hey Diane, I thought you were fixing the roof. I wasn't expecting you. And so like that email, it was like, make people feel good about their lives. And I was just like, okay, that's one clue. And then somebody drove past me, and the sticker on the back of their window was like, no bad days. And it's not a bad day, but it was just kind of like, I was like, oh, I should just cancel. For the whole week, not even just for today. Like I was already throwing in towel for the whole week, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep coming on. Tomorrow, I have a coaching call with this Manifesting Collective group that's amazing. And I have been talking to the coach and with the group about the current situation and the current things that are stressing me, because I really want to move to the next level. So that's like that's the predicament I'm in. Like I want to move to the next level, so I'm going deeper, but going deeper is bringing up so much energy that I'm having to deal with, that I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I had a nightmare. I mean, it was just all this crazy stuff that's like, but I mean, the nightmare was bad, but it was good because at least it showed to me that I'm on the right track. Like, I'm stirring up energy. I'm stirring up things that are bothering me in my subconscious mind that I didn't even realize were still bothering me, that kind of thing. So it's kind of, I'm like, okay, I know what's going on. I know what I'm doing. So we got a call tomorrow, a coaching call with the collective, and I brought up the issue that I'm dealing with, and several other people in the group chimed in. I got green juice today. And I'm trying to clear my throat. But several other people in the group brought up, they were like, I'm having the same issue. I would love to get some clarity on this. I need some guidance. I'm having the same issues. And so he's like, what? This is the topic of the week. We are going to talk about this. And the coaching calls are about an hour and a half long. And it's like in the evening. It's actually on my commute home, so it's perfect. And so I expect that I'm going to stir up more, right? Like, it's not, I will get some relief, I'm sure, but a lot of it'll be like, okay, let's deal with it. Let's talk it through. And so I'm kind of like, I don't know if I'm looking forward to it. Because you have to face these things head on, right? Like, you can't just like go hide under a rock and expect to, become a better person. So I am going to face it. I feel like I need counseling. Like, coaching is great. It's helping. But after, even your coach will tell you, okay, now it's time to go get some counseling. So anyway, it's Monday though. It's Monday. It's money day. It's not, so much a personal development day. It's like personal finance day. So we will talk about magic money. So I titled this episode, Mastering Your Money Mindset, because that's a huge hurdle. It's a huge obstacle. And I found that it's magic to a certain extent, but it's not all magic. So when I say magic, I just mean the law of attraction. And Esther always makes sure to point out that it's not magic, right? Like, it's not really magic, but if you start to change your mindset around money, things will happen, and it makes you feel like it's magic. It's not really magic. It's not like you're doing any sort of witchcraft or anything. It's just that it feels so effortless that you're like, how did this, like, I've been working, for years to try to figure this out, but you really haven't, right? You've been complaining about it. You've been talking about it. You've been journaling about it or whatever. Like, I found all those journals. I was journaling the same problem over and over and over again. It's like, you've been journaling your problem, but you haven't been working on a solution. And so when you master your money mindset, money starts to become easier in your life. The way you think about it changes because you're changing the way you think about it. And it feels like magic because it's a whole different way of being. And the thing about this is that it doesn't matter if you have $0, like if you are unemployed and you have nothing, to a multi-millionaire, billionaire, we all have money mindset issues. And so changing and mastering your money mindset applies to everyone. It applies to everyone. If you were born with money, you have money mindset issues. If you were born with nothing, you have money mindset issues. And a lot of these things come from the people who raised us and how they taught us to relate to money. And so as you get older and you start having your own experiences with money, you can develop a conflict. You will, because everybody has this. You have a conflict between how you relate to money based on how you were taught to relate to money versus now your own experiences with money. And it's tough. Like, it's really tough. And it feels like this well-kept secret when you start to learn about these money mindset practices and techniques and thought patterns. And you're like, how come nobody ever told me this, right? Like, even the best of parents a lot of times will not be able to get you to understand this. But now that, people are waking up more, thankfully, You can pass it down to your kids and grandkids and nieces and nephews, and it can become the new normal in your family if you wanted to. So this whole year, I've been amassing all these positive money mindset practices that it was amazing because I just barely scratched the surface, right? Like, I looked for one and I found 1,000. And it's come. Yes, journaling the problem, but not working on the solution. That's what I was doing too. I mean, that's what we do if we don't know what the next step is. So I found 1,000 of these money mindset practices just by, you know what happened? I got the concept of it. That was the thing. It's like, it's like the whole, like, give a man a fish and he eats for a day, or teach a man to fish and he'll never be hungry again. That's the way it was for me with the law of attraction and with the money mindset principles, because maybe it's because I was so hungry at the time. At the time when I needed these things, I was like in such a desperate sort of position at first. So like in 2018, I was in, like, for 6 months, I was in this desperate position trying to figure out like how I was going to change my life, because I had all this debt, and I was like, surprise, you have all this debt. And I was just like, I got to get out of this. And so I was just like searching everywhere, searching. And so when I found, so in January of 2019, I found like the secret, right? And I found like an explanation. And when I found that explanation, it just gave me so much clarity that I understood immediately, like, what this meant, what I was supposed to do, how I was supposed to use it, and how I could apply it to everything in my life. And so it came very easy to me. I was surprised. I was like, this feels so much more natural, because I feel like I have been searching for answers for my whole life, always asking questions, always searching for answers, and not really getting answers that satisfied me. I grew up Baptist, and that's fine. Went through Bible, Sunday school, and vacation Bible school, and all that stuff. And my husband's Seventh-day Adventist, and when I met him and I went to this, just like, I found the answers, at the Seventh-day Adventist church. So I changed, went to a Seventh-day Adventist church, was perfectly fine. But then I realized I'm still, it's like the more you get to know people, the more you're kind of just like, there's something missing, because they still didn't have the answers. Of course, everybody's human. So they still didn't have all the answers to the questions that I had. And I was getting even more confused, and I was doing the things that they were saying to do, and I was feeling even more stressed out, overwhelmed. So then I hear, Esther is explaining things. I think the very first thing she explained that I said, aha, that's it. She explained like death and life and all these things. And I was like, amazing, right? Amazing. And it answered my question. I had peace. So I knew it was the right answer for me. So you find, I found these techniques, and I found like a concept, and then it was easy to just plug in the specifics of it, because it was like, this is what it means. And then I was like, oh, and this is how to use it, and like this and like this and like this. So I have like I've started writing them down, because I didn't want to forget any of them. So I have a notebook where I just have these money mindset practices all written down, page after page after page. And so I've been telling myself that I'm going to put them on a schedule, so that next year, when I run I'm going to run a budgeting mastermind group, I think in January, from like January to March. And I'm going to put these principles in the schedule, so I can teach people how to use it over time. Because what happens is, if you learn them all at once, it's overwhelming. It's just too much information. But if you learn them like as a trickle, and you like actually don't like listen to it and say, oh, that sounds great, but like you hear about it and you start doing it, and then you hear about another one and you start doing it, and you just incorporate it into your life, it makes it stick. and you get it, and it becomes a part of your life. And next thing you know, you have a different relationship with money, which means that money is not going to be so hesitant to come into your life. I'm trying to see if I can turn the light. Okay, maybe that makes a difference. It seems so dark, but I had the light turned down because I turned my phone down in the morning. So that is what's going on. So I want to share these practices with you. Some of them, this is so weird. I would come up with it, and I'd be doing it and using it, and then I'd like somebody kept telling me about Denise Duffield Thomas, who I think she's in Australia, and I got her book, and she's talking about the exact same thing. So I'm like, okay, I know this is, and she charges, I think, like $2,000 for her program. So I was like, okay, so I know these practices are good, and I know that, you know, they're like working, because someone else I don't even know who's on the opposite side of the world is teaching people to use these same things. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start telling people how to use these things, not for $2,000, good Lord, but you know, for a lot lower of a price point, but still quality information. So I'm gonna start that in January. So I'm gonna have to let you guys know how to get into it if you want to. But in the meantime, the other week, a couple weeks ago, I filmed a series. I think I filmed 12 videos, but 3 of them go in the Budget Diary customer hub. So I'll tell you about that first. So the Budget Diary of the Magic Money Planner, inside the customer website, the private website you can only get if you buy the planner, is a budgeting course that is like all new. I'm revamping the entire hub because it didn't feel right to me. Like, it felt right to me at the time when I made it, but then I revamped the actual planner. So I was like, oh, it needs a whole new hub. Things need to be easier to go through. The budgeting course, there needs to be a course now, not just like, here's how to use this page, here's how you use that page. Now it's like, this is what you do, you know, and it makes it easier for people to learn how to budget and have fun budgeting. So there's a budgeting course, and there's a money mindset mini course in there that goes along with it, because both of those things have to happen. Like, I love Dave Ramsey to death, and I used his principle. Like, Dave Ramsey saved my life. Like, between Dave Ramsey and Abraham Hicks, those were the two. And so my whole goal at this point is to somehow mesh, and it's not difficult, but to mesh Dave Ramsey and Abraham Hicks, their philosophies together, so that you get that practical, you know, if you've ever listened to Dave Ramsey, he's like kicking your butt with common sense. He's just like, you can't spend that much if you don't make that much. What are you doing, you know? And don't listen to your broke relatives. You know, your broke relatives are going to tell you to do this with your money. Don't be broke. You know, debt is normal. Be weird is one of his little taglines. And so it's like, you take Dave Ramsey's common sense, this is what you do with your cash, you know, approach, and then you mix it with Abraham Hicks' more spiritual idea of the fact that money is really an energy. Money is a spiritual, it's a spiritual thing. Like, everything around us is energy, but there's a certain energy with the giving and the receiving, and a way to relate to that so that it's not stressful to you. And so that hit my pain points, because in 2018, when I realized I had all this debt, my 2 pain points were, number 1, I did not know how to budget. Like, I didn't know what I was even doing wrong. I thought, like, okay, you see something you want, you just buy it. Like, why do you have to look at your bank account? Just buy it. What, you know? And the only thing that had been saving me for all this time is that I have a job where I was making a lot of money. But then when I had kids and I got married and, you know, things got complicated, you're making money, but your money is already set to go somewhere else. So it balanced my equation. Like, I wasn't bringing in all this money that could just sit there and I could just spend it like crazy. And so I learned very quickly that catches up with you, and that way of that behavior is going to get you nowhere really fast. So that was one of my pain points, was the fact that I didn't know how to live any other way. I didn't know how to not do that. I didn't know how to balance anything or record anything, and spreadsheets were boring, so I was like very hesitant to do that, and I didn't want to be restrictive, That was my one pain point, and Dave Ramsey helped me with that. But my other pain point was that I had a poor relationship with money. I had a negative relationship with money. I was so stressed out every time I even thought about it, that's why I didn't record anything. That's why I didn't balance anything. That's why I didn't write things down or open my credit card statements and look at the itemized and look at how many times I went to Whataburger or anything like that. Like, I felt like a stress, a pressure, anxiety, want to just bury my head in the sand whenever it came to money. So those are my two pain points, and Dave Ramsey fixed one and Abraham Hicks fixed the other. And so when I learned how to heal my relationship with money, and I learned that, the things that you hear as you're growing up about money and how it's, difficult to come by and it burns a hole in your pocket and it's gone, and how, it's hard to make money. And you feel that it's hard to make money because you watch your parents working hard all the time, sacrificing to make money. You feel like it's hard to make money. But when you change your money mindset and you start to relate to money in a different way, then you realize it's not that difficult to make money, not at all. And it's actually counterintuitive, because the more joy you have about money, the better your relationship is with money, the more of it you have. And the less you work, which is amazing. Hi. So let's talk about money, like the relationship with money. So this is how I think of it. This is the easiest way, the quickest way to change your relationship with money. Think of money. So money is an energy, right? Money is not the root of all evil. Loving money is not the root of all evil. Money is an energy. And, if you've grown up hearing that the love of money is the root of all evil, let me back up. Let me tell you this first. This is the quickest and easiest way to heal your relationship with money. Money is an energy. That is it, like everything else. Think of money as though it's a person, like someone that you know. Think of it as your best friend. Think of it as a coworker or if you are a manager, is your best worker. Because that's what it is. Right? So in your head, like seriously, think of money as a person. Someone that you value. Money is going to be your best friend, because money is not the root of all evil. Loving money is not the root of all evil. Money is a warm house, right? Money is shelter. Money is safety. Money is a college education for your kids. You see what I'm saying? Like if you don't have money, you don't have these things. If you are in an unsafe environment and you need to get yourself to a safer environment, you need money to get you there. So it doesn't help you to think of money as something evil when you need it. We need it, and yet we talk bad about it. And so that is the way I changed my money mindset. I just had to imagine it was an actual person. And every time, and trust me, there's a lot. There's many hundreds of times a day that you have a thought about money, or you say something out loud about money, about cash, about your paycheck or the lack of it, about a raise, and it's a negative thing. I don't have enough money is probably the number one thing. Or actually, number one thing is probably I can't afford that, or we can't afford that. That is a common one, and I used to find myself, I would say that too. So number one, change what you say out loud about money. Imagine that money is a person. Just like you don't talk crazy about your best friend behind their back, don't talk crazy about your money behind his back. Right? Don't tell people like, I can't afford that, like it's money's fault. Right? Instead, in case you're wondering, like, what do I say instead? Because I can't afford that. You say, it's not a priority. Right? Because you can afford it. I used to play this little game as I was driving to work before I used to turn the camera on. But I would see stuff, right? Ridiculous stuff. Like, I made it a game, like, for real. I would see, like, a building, Or there's like this ranch on my way to work that's still for sale to this day. It's been like over a year. And I looked it up one day, and it's like $800 and something thousand. It's a beautiful home with a lot of land and all this stuff. It's like $800 and something thousand. And instead of saying I can't afford that, I say it's not a priority. Because you can afford it. If you really think about it, you could sell every single thing that you have, right? You could sell everything. You could sell your car, your house, all the stuff in your house, all your clothes. You could stop eating. You could take all your grocery money. You can, whatever you have to do. You can afford it if it was a priority. If you wanted to live there bad enough, you could sell everything and make the down payment and then go to work and then make the payments on it. I mean, so it's even ridiculous to say I can't afford it, because if money is a person, money is sitting over here like, what I got to do with it? You want the ranch, buy the ranch. I'm not telling you not to buy the ranch. Go get a loan from the bank, do whatever you have to do, but don't blame money for it. Instead, be honest with yourself, be real with whoever it is you're talking to, and be like, you know what? I can't afford that. I can afford anything. I can't afford everything. So I have to make some choices. I can either afford new clothes and food, and you could live in that ranch without electricity or hot water if it really came to that, if it was too expensive to afford the mortgage and the electricity. So it's not that you cannot afford it. So stop saying I can't afford it. Just say that's not a priority. I'm living in an apartment. I'm happy with that right now. It's not a priority for me to live on a ranch. If it was, I'd make it happen. But since it's not, I'm good. It makes you laugh. So the quickest way, this is gonna sound real crazy, y'all, but the quickest way to attract money into your experience is to be the type, okay, let me tell you this. So from here on out, because I think of money as a person, from here on out in the conversation, think of money as a person. Because that's the way I'm gonna talk to you, because that's the way I think in my head now. So that's the way I'm gonna talk to you about money. So just take it for granted that I'm talking like about an actual person who's sitting next to me. When I think about attracting money into my life, and by attracting, I mean I wasn't expecting it. It's not like I traded hours for it. So it's not like I went to work and then I got a paycheck and I was like, oh, look, I attracted this paycheck. No, I'm talking about the months and months and months when I had just like random checks popping up in the mail. Have you ever gotten a check that says something like, hey, you owned a Honda in 1997 and there was a class action lawsuit about the manufacturer's something or other with the door doohickey, and you were part of it because you own this car between these years, and here's $197. This is your cut of the settlement. And you're like, what? I was getting so many of those kinds of checks. It was ridiculous. Not the same, it wasn't the exact same scenario, but it was like over and over and over again. I would go to the mailbox, and I go to the mailbox like once a week, and we'd have like 4 checks in the mail of different random things, different amounts. Some of them were huge, some of them were small. I mean, but they were just like, I had to check. I had to mail something for my son that cost me $19.97 to mail, and I was like, dang, really? And I got a check for like $20 in the mail that same day, and I was like, what? It was weird. It went on from February or March until like July. Every time I went to the mailbox, there was checks. I saved them because I have a big stack of them. My husband found them. He was like, did you already deposit these checks? I was like, yeah, I deposited. I'm just saving them because we did electronic deposit. I'm like, I'm saving them as evidence because I really want to show people that like we just got all of these checks in the mail, a thick stack of checks. Just checks were just coming and coming and coming. But at the time, I was like powerfully manifesting money. We paid off all our debt during this time. It was just crazy. So the only thing I did differently was start to think of money as a person. And you can't attract money to you by being an a-hole to money. Like you can't blame money for everything that's wrong in your life, and blame money and say it never sticks around, say it's burning a hole in your pocket and you never have enough, and no matter what you do, you can't save any of it. It's like, if that was your friend, it would be like, how are you gonna, 1 minute you need me, oh, I just really need you. You get paid and you're like dancing around, and so money is like, okay, now you're happy to see me. But then next thing you know, you're broke and you're blaming money for all your problems. If that was a person, that person would not want to hang out with you at all. And then you're calling it the root of all evil. So it's like, what do you mean, dude? Like, loving me is the root of all evil? And you want me to still, like, be your friend? And then you're saying, like, oh, I need more money. You're going to hustle up to get some more money. So you're like, I'm going to hustle up to get you to come close to me. But then you're like, oh, money is making me feel like a filthy whore. And you're like, what? If you were money, you'd just be like, what's happening here? Like, look, this is a dysfunctional relationship. This is a dysfunctional relationship. You pull me close, you push me back, you punch me in the face, you pull me close again. Like when it's the 1st of the month or the 30th of the month and you're expecting your check, all of a sudden you love me, but then you spend me on Taco Bell, you just make me cheap. It's like you just throw me away. What is your money supposed to think? So if you think about money as a person, you have to think about the kind of person that you would want to be to attract it to come to you, right? You always talk about it with respect. I say this other thing too. I say give your money a beautiful place to live, because you want to be rich, but you got the most raggedy wallet ever. Like, your wallet is from like it's so raggedy, and it's like rubbed a hole in your pocket. I mean, it's just horrible. Like, you give it this horrible, ugly place to live, or you got this raggedy old purse, but you want to have a lot of money living in that purse. You put your bills in there any kind of way, any kind of way, so it seems really trivial, but it makes a huge difference. It actually makes you feel different. I started doing this and I felt differently about money. I make sure all of my bills are in sequence. This is so weird, y'all. Y'all gonna be like, this girl has lost her mind. But I make sure the 20s are in the front, then the 10s and the 5s and the 1s, they all face forward. Everything's smoothed out. If I get a bill, like I got some change and the dollar looked like it needed to be retired, like it was all rough and rugged, that's the first one I spent. I was like, okay, sorry, thank you. I'm gonna trade you in for something, because, we all, it's a dress code over here. It's a dress code. So I just need to make sure that I get you out of here before you turn to dust on me, because you look like you're about 100 years old. And so it's important. It seems small, but if money is energy like every other energy, it's not small. And I can tell you for a fact that this works. And the thing about it is, if I was trying to sell you something that was like $500, that would be one thing. If it was strenuous, if I was like, you know what, to attract money, you must run on a treadmill for 3 hours a day, like that would be difficult. But the things that actually attract money to you are easy, simple things like what I just said. Put all your bills in a pretty, put them in a nice place and have them all facing forward. Now, how much energy does it take to do that? It doesn't take much. But I'll tell you, when you go back and you got that pretty wallet, or you got that nice wallet, if you're a man, you got a nice, leather wallet, something nice that you like, when you open it up, you will feel that energy that it took to making the money have a beautiful place to live, because you'll feel better about it. And a way to attract money is to have joy around your money. So the entire atmosphere around your thoughts about money, around your actions about money, the way you spend it, the way you earn it, is happy, is joyous. That's what makes the difference. And so when you talk about money being an energy, it's an energy of receiving and of giving. When you give somebody something, you feel so great about it, or if somebody gives you something, you feel so awesome about it. That's the energy. You feel that burst of energy. That's the energy with the exchange of money. And it's supposed to move in and out. So money has a job. Money loves to have a job. It has to have a job. It doesn't thrive well if it's just sitting around. And again, I'm telling you, think of it like a person. So say you have a company and you hire lawyers for your company. You hire a team of lawyers, you get them in there in orientation, and you tell them, all right, I know you're fresh out of law school. That's great. I got, recruited you guys from Harvard, you're the top of whatever. This is your job here at this company. You are to sit in this room and staple papers all day long. Thank you. See you tomorrow. And it's like for 8 hours a day, you have the top lawyers in the country stapling papers at a conference room table. That's what it's like if you take your money, which loves a job, and money is very, very, very good at certain things, and you tell it to do something trivial, like what I was telling my money to do all the time for me was get me some food at Whataburger. Let me go to Whataburger. Let me go to Taco Bell. I've lost so much weight since I changed my money mindset, y'all, because I stopped exchanging my valuable money, my MVP, my Harvard-educated lawyer. I stopped exchanging it for trivial stuff. And I think twice about it. I'm like, my money is an expert. And I'll tell you what money is an expert at. But I was like, my money is an expert, and I'm not going to throw it away on this, because that's disrespect. That's like me telling the lawyer to go staple papers. That's disrespect to the money. But money is an expert at, you want to guess? Multiplying. Money is amazing at multiplying. If you learn how money works, the way that money works is that it can multiply. Money is like rabbits that want to just make more little bunnies. Like, they can just multiply like crazy. But if you take your money, and that's like the magic of money right there, is that it multiplies over and over. You put it to work, you give it a job, it multiplies. So what I do when I'm making a budget is that I give all my money a job. So you want to give your whole money army, give them all a job. You want to say, okay, you are designated to pay the mortgage. And you appreciate it, right? Because it's, money is a person. This is your MVP, the most valuable player on your team. And you're like, you are designated to pay the mortgage. This month, you are assigned to keep a roof over our head, to, provide shelter for us. I appreciate you. Okay, you are assigned for the utilities. You're going to keep the water on. You're going to keep the heat on. You're going to keep the lights on. I appreciate you. You're assigned to keep gas in the car. I appreciate you helping me get to work. That's how you think about assigning, like when you budget, like this is the job for money. Now, Dave Ramsey's not going to tell you this, because Dave Ramsey's more practical. He's just going to be like, make your budget. But Abraham Hicks might tell you something more along the lines of this, of like how to relate to your money, how to think about it, and it helps actually when you go to spend it to not be so attached to like the stress of it. I gotta pay my bills. Don't ever say that. Don't ever say, I gotta pay my bills, because that's disrespect to money. Money is like, you get to pay your bills because I showed up today, but you keep talking crazy to me and I'm not gonna show up, right? You get to pay your bills. You exchange. You're not paying bills. You're exchanging money for services that you've received that have made your life comfortable. If you've ever traveled around the world, you can see other places where you don't have to pay your bills. You don't have to pay a utility bill. You don't have to pay a light bill, because guess what? You don't have lights, you don't have hot water. And you might be walking, even some places in America, you might be walking out to a well to get your water in a bucket to bring back to the house. So don't say you got to pay your bills this time. No, you get to. It's a privilege. I get to sit down, get to open my budget diary. I get to assign my money a job, tell my money where it's all going. And one of the most important jobs, one of the most fruitful jobs you can give money is saving, but not just ordinary saving, not just in your checking account, but a savings account that's going to earn you interest, because money loves to multiply, and it can multiply for you in the form of interest, or even if you're investing in the stock market, and there's a very specific way to do that. I know that's a scary concept. If you didn't grow up hearing conversations about how to invest, how to, save, that is kind of scary. You feel like you're going to lose it all. But that's where the money mindset changing comes in, because you don't have to fear that you're going to lose it all. You don't have to fear that. We all know who Donald Trump is, right? Like, so he's been bankrupt 5 or 6 times, whatever. He always bounces back. If you want to become a millionaire one time in your life, you feel like it's an uphill battle. Like, I will never become a millionaire. Well, this man has become a millionaire, lost it all, 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 become a millionaire. And now he's president. And so it's like, what makes him different from that he could like get more than a lot of us will ever think that we can get, and then lose it all and then get it again? The only thing different is the mindset. The mindset of knowing that I'm not afraid. I don't have to have fear. I just have to try again. Whatever I did the first time, let me do it again. Right? And so it just it makes you, once you see that mindset, it's kind of like, okay, you know, it's a whole different way of thinking. So I have a million of these, really make a huge difference. And if that just cut out for you, you might have to watch the replay, because I just got the little orange bar saying I had low connection or something. But so if you go to the website boldworldplanners.com, I'll just link it in the comments. You can sign up on it, and don't worry about it. Like, you'll get the video series, so it'll drip to your email. It'll come to your inbox once a week. You'll get a new tip, something you can try for the whole week, and then the next week, by the time you're used to that one, you get another one. So there's nothing you have to do. It's not like you have to go somewhere and watch the videos. They'll just come into your email, and so it'll come in once a week for 8 weeks. So that's 2 months of hearing these little tips. And then it's not like I'm going to be sending you emails or anything after that. I'm not selling you anything or anything like that. You'll just get the emails, and once the 8 weeks are done, it's done. Like, there's no other follow-up campaign or anything with that email series. And I wanted to just have a place where, like, just a random 8 of my tips are, so that people can start to try to use them, because I have like 12 more that I'm putting in a course. And so I wanted you to see what they were and how simple they were, and try to use them in your life. And then if you like it, you can opt in to another series, but that's like totally separate. This one is just going to give you the emails, and that'll be it. And then, like I said, for the people who are going to be in my budgeting mastermind, these money mindset shifts will be part of what we do for 3 whole months. And you have to have a budget diary or a magic money planner, because you have to be able to budget, because it's a two-part thing. One is like you're actually tracking your money. You're actually paying attention, which is a high form of respect. And then the other thing is that you are changing the way you think about it. So you're tracking and you're changing your mind, and then you'll notice the way you're tracking is getting better and better and better. So that is that. I thought I'd just come on for a minute, but like I said, usually I come on, I talk, and then I feel better. So so I hope you're having a wonderful Monday so far, and that it keeps getting better and better, and the week gets better. It's going to be a good week. So I will talk to you. If you have any questions, just leave me questions in the comments. I'll read every single one. I'll answer it on the show. I come on usually like 7:30 every weekday morning, and talk about my epiphanies, and talk about like the personal development or whatever's going on in my life. I just used to do it anyway, and now I just turn the camera on. So, hey Shannon, thanks for saying that. Oh, I appreciate that so much. And thanks, Andre, joining from California. So you're like 2 hours early. That's early. Y'all are up early. So I appreciate it. I really do. Like, I feel really special when people are listening in, because a lot of times I just talk to myself. So it's nice that I'm not talking to myself. Okay. Bye. See you later.